So good morning to everyone. Welcome to our Mind the Moments Thursday morning gathering, brought to you by Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Tufts Health Plan. This is a place where we invite experienced mindfulness instructors to speak with us about what mindfulness means to them and to discuss as a community how we can incorporate these practices into our daily lives. I'm Suzanne Rowe Palacino, and I'm so happy to be here on Thursday, as always, with Tara Healey, founder and director of Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare's mindfulness program. Good morning, Tara.
Good morning, Suzanne. So nice to be here, and thank you all for joining.
Yes, happy Thursday to everyone. I know because of the sign-in, things might take a little bit longer, but welcome to everyone that's joining, and a special welcome to anybody that's new to our session this morning. So to mention how we work, today Tara will start us off with a question, and then she'll lead us in a guided meditation practice. It's about 12 minutes long, and she will guide us throughout that practice. So again, if you're new, no worries. We've got it from here, and just follow along. So after that, we'll have a chance to chat, and during the question, we'll have a chance for you to open up the chat and type in. So just go ahead to the bottom of the screen and open up that chat, and you can choose the drop-down menu that says hosts and panelists and click on everyone. So you can see people's comments as they come in. And I also wanted to add a special announcement that we're so excited about. We're going to be starting a meditation challenge on the 12th of May. And it will be a 4-week challenge running from the 16th of May until the 10th of June. And this challenge is based on Amishi Jha's research, who's a neuroscientist from the University of Miami. And she's come out with a new book called Peak Mind. And her research suggests that 12 minutes a day, 5 days a week for 4 weeks is the formula that shows measurable changes in our brains. So in support of that, we're running this challenge to really guide people on this path. And then to support everyone, we will have a video that will come out 5 days a week, 12 o'clock noon Eastern time for 12-minute meditation. And there'll be more details to follow. So just wanted to mention that, kind of get that teaser out there for everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Suzanne. I would also add that, so 12 at 12 is a little bit of a play on words, but it doesn't mean you do it at noon. It just means it'll be available each day at noon. So you can watch it at your leisure. I mean, that's the beauty, I think, of the Peak, we're calling it appropriately the Peak Mind Challenge, is that you can, it'll be ready and you can watch it anytime.
Great. All right.
Yeah.
That's something new that will be coming up. So Tara, you have a question for us today?
Yes. So this morning, I don't know how many of you are familiar with Susan Cain. She wrote a book called Quiet about introversion. It came out several years ago, I think. I actually did not read it, but I've heard really good things about it. And I've heard her speak, I think a TED Talk maybe, but I've been curious about her work. So she has a new book out called Bittersweet, and it's about the value of those kinds of bittersweet emotions like melancholy, and that's all part of the human experience, and that is a really important and beneficial mind state, totally separate from depression. One of the things she was saying in this piece I was reading this morning is that depression and melancholy can get conflated. She said two completely different things. They are two completely different things, and not to conflate them. But, she almost was sort of kind of going into the category of awe, but there's something about melancholy that's actually healing and helpful. So one of the ways she starts her day every day is with what she said is, I start with some beauty immediately. So that could be reading a poem, or she said she started following some really interesting artists on Instagram. So she'll look at an image that artist has created as a way to really start her day and tap in with some beauty and some awe. And I just loved that. And I thought, I think there's a question in that there, which is how does that idea land with you? This idea of starting each day with beauty. And many of you may already do that. If you do, what is it that you do? And if not, is there something that you'd aspire to do to begin your day with beauty? So the author is Suzanne Cain. I think it's Cain, Suzanne Cain, but her first book is Quiet, which got a lot of acclaim. This book is bittersweet, and I feel really drawn to checking it out. But yeah, so she starts her day with some kind of beauty. And so my question is there a way you start your day that's connected with beauty? If not, do you aspire to that? And what might that be? And Suzanne, so I let's start with you, and I'll say a little bit, and then folks could populate their responses to that question.
Yeah, thank you, Jeannie, for sending that. The website for Suzanne Cain.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
So I don't know that I don't regularly do something. So I love the idea. When you mentioned this morning, I just love this idea. So I think, I love poetry. So that's something that I might consider.
Yeah.
I know I do have a practice. It doesn't happen first thing in the morning, but I have my coffee with my dog sitting next to me, and I just look outside. So that's something that I love. But I like the opportunity of going outside first thing in the morning. I know Laura, you do this. I know you really go outside no matter what the weather is, and just outside. Especially when it's cool outside. I love that.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm still considering this, but I like the idea. What about you, Tara? Is there something that you?
Yeah, I would say that, because the way she phrased it, it's like she opens her eyes and then she's inclining toward like just some kind of beauty in some way. And I can't say that I do that every morning, but there's something that hit me about that this morning in a really positive way, where I thought, there are things I could do. So David White, who's a poet, he's Irish, and I believe he's Welsh as well. So I have a couple of his books, but there's one where he just writes about all different kinds of mind states, like courage and wisdom and beauty. And so I read one of his pieces on courage that I just loved. And, it's something that takes no time, but I believe matters. It's like the neuroscientists always say, whatever we incline the mind toward, that's what we train. And so it seems to me that there's a lot of value in inclining toward beauty, even if it's just observing a picture or an image. I was telling Suzanne when we were chatting right before we came on camera that my sister has a good friend who, she's a busy mother. She works full-time. Her husband works full-time. They have 4 children, but she has made it a habit to almost every day go see a sunrise. And I just I feel inspired by her, that she rolls out of bed while it's dark. And, at this point near her home, she's got places that she goes to, but that's how she starts her day. So anyway, let's see. I know I haven't had time to look at these. Walking outside.
Outdoor activities, opening my shades to look at the view and the sunrise and the And it's like someone's mentioned, it's when you're commuting that can be a different experience, but walking outside in the morning, walk in the woods.
I just think everything we take in matters. Everything we take in matters. So, yeah, thank you, everybody.
Yeah. I connect with someone's mentioned about their plants too. And
Yes.
I love, especially I have a oxalis plant that closes at night. It's a shamrock kind of plant. It closes at night and then opens up in the morning. And so it's like, love to see the changes every day with that.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. I'll sometimes move my plants around depending on how the light is, but I have some plants that are 30 years old and I honor them, remarkable, really.
Yeah, and I love what Susan's mentioned too about all of her St. Francis of Assisi, that she's got all her creatures around her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. So I think we can go ahead and, move into practice. So I'll settle us in with just kind of checking in with the body, and then we'll do more of like a concentration practice where we'll isolate body sensation, a breath, or a point of contact, or even sound, which is what Amishi calls the flashlight meditation, where you really kind of have a little bit more of a narrow focus of attention. So let's start sitting or standing, eyes open or closed. And I like to always have us start with 2 deep breaths, but do those on your own and make that exhalation a little longer than the inhalation. And whether you're seated or standing, just kind of notice how the body is from your activity of the day. Some of you may have had very busy mornings and others not so much, or somewhere in between. But always there is an impact on the body. So notice the physical expression of pulsing or tingling or temperature or tightness. With a receptive mode, so just receiving whatever's being offered. And now take a moment to just look at the posture, internally look at the posture, and make any micro movements so that you're sitting in a way that is upright and alert, or standing so that you feel engaged yet at ease. So the spine is holding you upright, not leaning back, but literally holding yourself up and making these micro movements so that we can remain steady and engaged. If you're especially sleepy, it's helpful to keep the eyes open and or stand. But otherwise, as you've adjusted the body, let's do a scan through different regions of the body and just notice what's there. Soften areas that you come across that might need softening, but just to the degree that you're able to. So let's bring attention to the very top of the head. Coming down over the sides of the head and the back of the head. Coming around to the face, the eyes, the nose, the jaw, even the tongue. See if you can soften the face. And to the neck and shoulders, to the upper arms, elbows, forearms, and hands. Just allowing the arms to rest heavy, yet also engaged. Bringing awareness to the torso, so the front of the body and the back of the body. And to the hips and thighs. knees, lower legs, and feet, including the toes. And release. And for a moment, whole body awareness. And in a moment, we're going to narrow the focus of attention, much like when we use a flashlight to highlight something in our visual field. But before we do that, it's always helpful to just be aware of sound that might be occurring in the room that you're in or even outside of the room. Just take a moment to notice sound. And as you feel ready, coming back into the whole body, allowing sound to remain as it will. And begin to notice the rhythm of your breath. So however that is fine. So as you breathe in and as you breathe out, simply noticing where in the body the sensation of breath is strongest for you. So that could be kind of belly, abdomen, or chest, or nostrils. It's also fine to use another body sensation or sound. So if there's a point of contact with the body and the surface, whether that's the palms of the hands resting on the thighs or the back of the body where you're aware, whatever the attention, what's easiest for you to connect with. So either breath sensation or another body sensation or sound. Each time the mind wanders, which it's natural, it will, and you notice it, just make a soft mental note thinking, bring whole body awareness, soften, and then reconnect with that thing that's helping to anchor and steady attention over and over and over. And noticing where the mind is. And reconnecting with your anchor, redirecting that flashlight, honing in on that body sensation or sound. And again, noticing where the mind is. Soft mental note thinking, soften the body, and return your flashlight, isolating that particular sensation, whether it be breath or something else, or perhaps sound. And as you feel ready, if your eyes were closed and you feel ready, you can slowly open. And if your eyes were open, whether open or closed, take a moment to just reconnect with your surroundings. Sometimes it's helpful to just look around and take in the room and take a moment to perhaps stretch.
Tara.
And anybody who wants to share any thoughts or observations, or if you have any questions about practice, as Suzanne said, oftentimes there are folks that are new that join in. Yeah. And anything from you, Suzanne, in terms of how the practice, like the thing is, practice feels different every day. So.
Yeah, I thought a reminder to everyone, because many times we could judge ourselves. Oh, I keep losing myself in thought and, coming back. And it doesn't matter how long one has practiced meditation. That is consistently people's experience. So I just, I encourage you to, if it's possible, to drop the judgment of that, because it's just what our mind does. And Tara and I have been meditating. Tara's been meditating for years, and it still is our experience. So has nothing to do with your. We obviously get to a point where we can find ways to come back a little bit easier.
Yeah.
It just depends.
Yeah. And you're doing it right. Like it's the misconception that we're supposed to have a completely calm, clear mind, that this is the practice. The mind goes off, you see it, thinking. You can be more specific, like planning or worrying. There's something about naming it that actually supports the mind, and then just return. And then over and over again. And I think, Suzanne, what you just said was so important. It doesn't matter how long you've been lost. I think of some of my early teachers like Sharon and Joseph, where they'd say they were lost the whole 45 minutes they were sitting, and especially, many of them were in Asia, Southeast Asia, and beginning practice and just feeling like, like you said, Suzanne, the amount of time ultimately doesn't matter. You could be lost for 15 minutes, and then you come back. Like the moment of seeing that you're wandering is such an important moment, because in that moment you are awake, you are aware, you actually see it, and you have the capacity at that point to be more intentional with where you aim and sustain your attention. And during meditation, that's what you want to be able to do. Just continually aim and sustain. You go off, you see that you have, aim and sustain. And it's not a hard tug back either. It's just because what's happening is all normal. You're just saying, I'm gonna not get on that train of association now because I'm formally practicing. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, and I also noted, I love the note that you say to soften the body, because I noticed when I had my thoughts had taken me away, all of a sudden I'm like, my back is kind of tight, my belly was tight, and I realized, okay, I was in that thought kind of do it, and then I came back and I was like, oh, I just like let my belly go, and so the body tells us so many things.
Well, it's interesting. I think, to your point, as I've said before, thoughts slip in unnoticed. The body contracts unnoticed until we do notice. Every time there's a thought, there's a subtle contraction of the body, but we don't tend to be aware of it. So to me, it's like this, like 3-part notice, thinking, planning, be more specific, soften, return. Just those 3 parts: thinking, soften, return. I don't know if there's an acronym for that.
Well, whatever it is, it works.
Yeah. And someone is saying how valuable wandering thoughts are during meditation, and they are, because they point out your habit patterns, so it's like, and at different times in our life, we could be in a pattern of worry or joy and excitement, but I think to that point, we're learning about our habits and patterns of mind. We're learning about the nature of mind, and that means everybody. So you're learning about your neighbor's mind. not the content, but that this is what minds do. And it's like the most valuable lesson, because we're also seeing that every thought, emotion, and body sensation arises, does its thing, and moves. So everything has a nature to change. Yeah, we're learning our patterns of thought and habit and what's useful and what isn't. So it's a very deep practice of self-understanding.
Right.
I see we're at 9:01.
Yes, thank you, Tara, for guiding us through, and all these reminders are so important for us. So, and thank you to the group for
Thanks
sharing
everybody.
experiences. So we hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you on Tuesday morning if you can join us. So thank you again, and see you soon.
Bye everybody.